Today I want to talk to you about soul ownership. Who owns your soul? Is it the darkness or the light? Maybe you're not sure. When a crime of humanity has been committed against you, or you have in turn committed a crime of humanity against someone else or against yourself. For example, you were terribly abused as a child, beaten by your parents, or you fell into a life of addiction or life of crime. Sometimes, in order to survive, you have to make a deal with your abusers to help them continue committing crimes or ripping people off, or else you'll die and the people you love will die. And that's called selling your soul, or selling a piece of your soul. And almost everyone does it at some point, even if just to learn how the ways of the world work. So hedge fund managers, real estate agents, salespeople at Verizon, everyday people, you and me, we're going to lie, cheat, and steal a little bit just to get by. However, at a certain point, if you're overcome with depression or rage and you can't shake it, you're always surrounded by bloodsuckers, vultures, con artists, people who keep using you, or you're constantly being attacked or scammed. And I'm not talking about a dark night of the soul where you cross through, or a socio-political situation like war. I'm talking about there is no reason logically for you to be immersed in constant hell. Like the darkness, it has a grip on you and it won't let go. No matter what you do or don't do, it owns you. And what's happening is, on this earth plane, there are principalities who fight over human souls. So our human souls, they either belong to the dark side, the gray side, which is still the dark, or the light side. And gray is kind of like dark. So the quickest, the easiest way to get rid or to get out of your contract with the darkness is to end the contract. So basically, they own your soul, and you make a choice. You choose to take it back. Now, this is usually a cathartic process. And when it happens, your soul, at least technically, or by universal law, your soul is returned back to you. But the darkness still wants to get paid because you were allowed to survive a situation of abuse. So you had to sell part of yourself to survive, and you still owe a little bit for having cheated your way out of dying and are still living. So you kind of have to buy your life back. Now, in Eastern traditions, that's called karma. In Western traditions, it's called making amends or atonement. The taking back of your soul, and every religious tradition has its own name for it, but in the Christian tradition, that's called baptism. So let me give you my version of baptism. It isn't just dunking your head in water, professing your faith. It's not a formality. What it is you call in the souls of your ancestors who've been equally cursed as you, especially if there's multi-generational and historical trauma. And they might be trapped in their own darkness. It's possible that some of them are ghosts. They haven't crossed into the light after they died. Some of them are going to be in heaven and have a lot of wisdom. But you call them in, and then you call in the principalities of light, like angels and archangels, your spirit guides, and whoever represents Mother and Father God to you. It could be Source, Life Force. Then you call in your avatars or your spiritual teachers like Jesus, Yogananda, Bhagavan. And basically you create this portal between dimensions with your intention, by which your soul can cross from the realm of darkness into the realm of light. That's baptism. And it's janky, it's wild, it's intense, and it's real. Okay, so then after you're baptized, now in Hindu traditions, they don't call it baptism, they call it initiation. In native Indian traditions, it's called a vision quest. Every tradition is going to have its rite of passage. But basically, after you make that choice for your soul to go from darkness to light, a battle for your soul begins. Okay, so before when your soul was owned by the darkness, you were not in fight mode. You're just cruising. You're allowing the darkness to have its way with you. You went with the flow. It sucked, but you didn't really do anything. You just kind of let yourself be a perpetual victim for your whole life. You weren't doing anything. But as soon as your soul crosses over the border from darkness to light, demons and angels are going to begin fighting over your soul. It's sort of a spiritual warfare. And on average, this fight lasts, in my experience, between 3 to 7 years. Sometimes it's longer. For your soul to be in that spiritual warfare before it fully crosses into the light and the war is kind of over. And you'll feel it when the war lets you go. Now, during this 3 to 7 year period, you're basically doing exactly what you're doing now. You're trying to make something out of your life. You're trying to evolve who you are. You're taking self-help classes. But this time, you're doing the same exact thing, but this time, instead of con men, instead of disasters, instead of a hot mess, you start to see gradual positive results. And here's where the big difference comes in. The difference is the self-work that you do when your soul is owned by the darkness has no results, or it has little results, or then you get results and then it backfires. Everything you earn gets taken away from you. Okay, when you own yourself, you're on the side of light. And so the self-work you do, it's still difficult, but you get positive results. And if it should ever backfires, that's on you. It's in your control. It backfired because of something you did, not because the darkness just up and took it from you. Now, on the dark side, there is no justice. They can enslave you. They can do whatever they want to you. But on the light side, there is justice. Whatever you do, you reap the reward or the consequence. So on the light side, you're in control. And you have help. You have a lot of spiritual help. Principalities, angels, ancestors. But on the dark side, you don't have any control and you have abusers. And I say all of this because if your soul is owned by the darkness, there's nothing you or anyone can do to help you because you don't own your own soul. So everything's kind of a wash. There's no justice on this side, so forget it. But as soon as you own your own soul, that's when everything matters. What you do matters, what you think matters, what you say, what others say, all of that matters. Things actually make sense. So what you need a rite of passage. Now that can be baptism, initiation, a vision quest with traditional ancient practices, not something that some new age teacher or therapist made up. Because I'm telling you, this stuff is real. These things are grounded in thousands of years of tradition, of wisdom and sacred texts and scriptures. Baptism is the call to warfare. Demons and angels are going to fight for your soul. Now, it's so much easier to just let yourself be a victim and be abused your whole life. But what I'm saying is fight for your soul. But you can't begin fighting for your soul until you cross over into the light. You can't fight right now. You don't have fight in you. You have to cross over first. And right now, you just have to cross over. That's your task.